Am I gonna sneeze? I can't tell. Look at my cutie candle. Oh, fuck. I'm currently standing in my living room in San Francisco on a very rainy day. It's like the first Monday of the year. It's January 5th. I'm about to move to Sweden for the winter on Thursday of next week. In precisely 10 days, I will basically right now be leaving the house to go to the airport to fly to Sweden. I am going to be studying a course at the university, Stockholm University. Why did I say it like that? Stockholms Universitet, from the beginning of the spring term into like the half term. It's a freestanding course, 15 points or whatever. So it's like full-time study. And the course is on theater, performance, gender, and feminism. It's an academic course. I'm very much looking forward to it, although I'm also kind of like not sure what to expect. It seems like the reading load is kind of light. I know that there's a midterm and a final, and the class meets one time a week, which seems incredibly infrequent to me, for 3 hours with a lecture and a seminar. I'm excited, but I don't know what it's gonna look like. I think it's maybe gonna be quite different from my experience of university in the US, where we have 4 classes concurrently. I was considering adding a second course on top of that, but already 15 like credits or whatever is considered like a full course load. You're not supposed to be really taking more than 15 credits at one time. I was looking at other courses that are available for late application, and trying to see if one would work with the class schedule and what have you. And unfortunately, the only one that was like the most attractive to me also has some conflicts with the other course that I'm going to be taking. And ultimately last night, I just kind of came to the conclusion like that I should not try to overload my schedule, and that I should leave myself time to work on other things. So I am still going to be working full-time while I do this course, which I think will be very manageable, but also I'm going to be doing sort of like final research for my novel, which is currently in its like second draft stage, and I would really like to finish that second draft in the next, I would say, 6 months. And so I think going to Sweden, it's set in Stockholm in the winter, so that will be an important kind of like proof of concept check for me, and I hope will also help kind of provide the last push that I need to finish that second draft. But also I have a strong hunch that being in this class is going to spur ideas for new performances and plays and stuff like that, and I want to make sure that I allow myself the time to make that work. And you know, it's hard at the outset of a trip to like know and plan your time accordingly, but I have to kind of stay open to the idea that I don't know yet what will come up during this time, and therefore I need to kind of like maintain an open stance to receive whatever projects arise. Something that I'm actually really looking forward to, or like kind of has occurred to me and I've been excited about the prospect, is like it's totally possible that I will make work while I'm there and get to work with people who are there and kind of cast people who are in Stockholm. And I'm excited to do that, and to also get to know better some of the people that I already know. It's been really heartening, I would say, and exciting to have people be reaching out to me, being like, let's get coffee or let's hang out or what have you. So it feels like, at least from where I stand right now, it feels like over the course of the last now 2.5 years that I've really invested in building some of these relationships, both on the ground and from afar. And it feels really nice to be able to go to the city and feel like there are people there, like, not waiting for me, but that there are people there who want to see me, I guess, at the basic level. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm of course nervous. I've had to like buy a winter wardrobe, which I did not previously own, which has been interesting. But I'm kind of at the point where I feel like I've prepared just as much as I can, and now it's just going to be about like being nimble and reactive and solving problems as they come up, rather than trying to provide for every outcome in advance, or like anticipate everything in advance. It's just like I kind of just need to leap and trust that I will be able to like figure out whatever comes up as it does. I'm gonna make this video about going to study in Sweden. I have to do it the right way, and part of doing it the right way is recording now when I'm feeling like I don't want to go, or that I'm sad. I was walking in the park and I just passed this group of friends who were just sitting on a bench, and they'd kind of tossed their bikes on the grass and they were just chatting, but in overhearing their conversation, it gave me such a pang of like anticipatory loss or melancholy, because it just reminded me of what I'm leaving behind. And I think it needs to be acknowledged that like, even though going to do this thing is cool, I feel scared, and like there is some loss to it. And I've spent the last 2 days like walking around just being like, oh my god, it is so beautiful here, and I love this place so much, and I don't want to leave, and la la la. And I keep reminding myself, well, luckily you live here and, you know, have my apartment and friends and job and life to return to. But yeah, it's not a totally simple feeling of excitement. I think there's a significant amount of uncertainty and fear of sort of approaching the ledge, but hopefully going to do this is something that is ultimately like expansive and empowering in my life. But it takes getting over the hump of fear to get there. Have to go over the fear rainbow to get what's on the other side. But I do feel a sense of loss right now, even though it's temporary. Part of what is making me feel scared or lost or all of those things is like the loss of a self in a place. I feel like I've actually spent a good amount of time wanting to be the self that I have been in Sweden, but the more like immediate and at-home self that exists here that I think I'm feeling scared to lose. It's also hard given that I've never lived in a wintry climate, and so I just don't know what to expect, really. And I'm trying to prepare from afar, and that's pretty hard. And also I think like I haven't even really properly considered the idea that I like might make new friends and have fun with them. So I know, oh, do you hear the owl? Anyway, I know that my life here is not the only life, that my friends here are not the only friends, but it still feels hard, and I don't want to go at some level. But also, as I was saying before, it's kind of nice that like everything is already booked, and I cannot like I'm in way too deep now to back out. So it's kind of nice because it's like when these feelings happen, these sorts of feelings that would like, if I hadn't decided yet, would make it tempting to back out. That's just not an option this time. There's a very beautiful view of the Japanese tea garden right now. It's also not that I think that I need to like force myself to do something that I don't really want to do, because at some level I do want to do this, but I do feel like although these feelings of like, oh wait, actually I'm really gonna miss my life here, like they're instructive, but they're not necessarily ones that need to be heeded via action, because I feel like at the same time when I like decided not to go do the grad program that I had been considering, I for like several weeks kind of felt the like chatter in my head quiet of like, oh, but maybe I should go to Sweden. But it very quickly picked back up again, and I was feeling so much like grief over the idea that I was not going to be able to go to Sweden for the fall or the winter. For some reason that has just been something that I've really wanted to do for a long time, and felt like it was really important to do specifically this year. Like I really, because it's connected obviously, like the winter is a time of year, and so it only happens once a year, and so I felt like if I missed the boat this time, like I'd have to wait a whole nother year, and it really just felt like a big delay in some ways that I just did not want to take on or accept. And so I feel like intellectually knowing that this is something that I've like come back to over and over and over again, like a desire that has sprung up in my head repeatedly that I can't seem to shake off, that sort of not emboldens me, but like that feels like it is what is creating the underpinning of my like conviction that this must be followed through with, even if now at this moment in time I'm feeling scared at some level and lost, or like, you know, kind of like clinging to the face of the cliff. Like if it's kind of like an if not now then when, and if not now then I'm gonna continue coming back to this thought again and again, spending more time wishing I was in another place, when at least now if I go and it's horrible, which it probably won't be horrible, but even if I go and it's difficult, then I will at least have done it and have the data to like sort of speak back to myself when I'm like, oh, but I wish blah 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 blah. Like this is in some ways me doing a service to myself to like quiet the chatter or strike something off the list with some degree of finality. And it's totally possible that in doing so it will open up a new item on the list. Like the last times I've been in Sweden, I've been like, okay, well, next step is to like properly move here, and it feels like I've been doing that in like little bite-sized chunks because I just haven't been ready to go all in yet. But yeah, I think like I'm really working on like doing two things at once. One is like acknowledging the feeling, which is all these things of uncertainty and clinging and what have you, and at the same time like trying to do something for my own benefit that may be difficult at the outset, but that I hope will have positive ramifications long term. And even if that positive outcome is like I very happily return to San Francisco and feel like, okay, great, now I'm ready to like really settle in here and like stop fantasizing about going and living in this other place, then like so much the better. Because I do think that like at a certain point I kind of have to come to some kind of a conclusion or like a decision in terms of where my life is actually gonna happen, you know, by and large. And like meeting a partner, having a family, blah blah blah, like not that those things can't, you know, not that you can't meet someone or have kids and move and what have you, but like it does feel like I need to not put my money where my mouth is, but it feels like I need to like be somewhere, be in the place that I want to be, so that I can continue building the life that I want to build. And also, it should be said, not to be missed, that actually like going and doing this has been a big goal for me for the last several years. Like, it's been something that I've consistently wanted to do or wanted to make possible for myself, and it's been variously possible at various different times. And so it feels like, I don't know, it feels like I wish that I could just take a step back from all of this sort of the cappuccino foam of anxiety, as I like to refer to it, as like this like upper layer of like logistical worries and, oh my gosh, I'm gonna miss this place and why am I going, and all of those thoughts. Like, I wish that I could kind of skim that off of the top and just focus on the underlying thing, which is maybe in a more intellectual way, like, wow, aren't I lucky that this thing that I've wanted to do, I'm like now doing. But I think that those thoughts are like intellectual in nature, and that it's like, yes, you can think that you're like, I'm like telling myself, well, Alexandra, you should be grateful that you're now getting to do this thing that you wanted to do, but it doesn't necessarily reach the level of feeling. Like, my feeling level is still, oh shit. But I think too, another thing that I've been thinking about is like this sort of, not delayed gratification, because I don't think that's what it is, but it's like the thing that you wanted that you didn't do, that you then need to like return to try to like satisfy the urge. And for me, I think in some ways that is study abroad, like the college program, study abroad. I did not study abroad in college because I was the editor of the fashion magazine at Berkeley. I felt like I couldn't go abroad because junior year was the time when people typically went abroad, and that was the year that it was like my year to edit the magazine by myself. So I felt like I was not really able to go study abroad during that time, and I think, but I always knew that that was something I wanted to do in some capacity. And even in college, my plan was that I was gonna go to grad school in Europe. And obviously, like, you know, life happens, and like my desire to go to grad school, or reason to go to grad school, has sort of changed. It was never really clear what exactly I was going to go for. I just knew that I wanted to go at some level. But anyway, it occurs to me that now, going to Stockholm University and doing this course, it's like literally for international students. I mean, I'm going to surely meet people who are studying abroad. It just struck me that I feel like I, in so many different capacities, have been like repeatedly doing things that sort of access that same urge or like desire to study abroad. Like the 2 times that I've been to Sweden to study Swedish, you know, both could be considered, I guess, kind of like study abroad, but it feels like I'm like trying to make that experience accessible for myself somehow, because maybe in part because I didn't do it in school and I felt like I missed out. So I guess my point is that if you don't do something in college, you might still be trying to do it when you're 30, though I'm not yet 30, but close enough. Yeah, last night I was watching this video of this girl who's going to Prague for study abroad, like in a week, same as me, because we're all going for spring semester essentially. And she was like, you know, I'm really excited, but of course, like, I'm also scared. And I'm gonna list out like some things I'm scared about and some things I'm excited about, and we'll like switch off so that so this isn't a downer of a video or whatever. And it just struck me like, oh, we're kind of going to do the same thing. Obviously, like, my setup is a little bit different, but I'm just trying to like contextualize and legitimize this. And I think what I'm saying is that like I wish I could feel more excited. Like I think I don't feel excited at some level. I think my anticipatory feelings towards this are more like stressed than they are excited. And I think that's kind of a shame. And I wish that I could feel differently, but at this point, that's how I feel, and that's okay. I've often compared San Francisco to a hot boyfriend I really can't leave, because every time I think like, God, I gotta leave this guy, aka city, I'm just like, oh, but it's so beautiful, like I can't leave. And I feel like I'm having a moment like that right now where I'm like, oh, it's so gorgeous, how can I leave? But I just keep reminding myself like it's temporary. But sometimes things feel a lot less temporary than they actually are. And conversely, sometimes temporary things can have a hugely outsized impact beyond the actual like time spent doing it. So I'm just in this like deep anticipatory mode where I kind of can't do anything other than like think and prepare for what's about to come. In fact, I think when I go home, if I'm disciplined, I'm gonna go start packing, because every night now when I go to sleep, my main question is like, how am I gonna fit my stuff, and is it going to fit? So I need to answer those questions by simply taking action. I do think if this video ever sees the light of day, I want to say something, which is that in the last year, but I think particularly like maybe the last 6 months or so, I am really working on, and I'm really trying to use this whole expedition as a proof point for myself as well, that like your anxieties need to meet the real world, which means like you can't figure everything out in your head, and it feels so seductive. Your anxiety speaks to you and says like, yes, you figured it all out, this is exactly what you need to be worried about, or like, oh shit, like all your stuff isn't gonna fit, blah blah blah. And then you can just like go around and around about that in your own head. But what I've learned from specifically doing plays recently is that like you have full reign to be anxious about whatever you want, but very often when those anxieties meet reality, you find that A, maybe you didn't need to be anxious about that specific thing all along, or B, when that anxiety does meet reality, you can very easily take action against it, or like, take an action to change it or what have you. It's just like you have so much more control over what's stressing you out if you just confront it, I guess, simply put. And like reality holds the full scope of reality, not anxiety. Like you can't figure out reality in your head. You have to meet the world and therefore discover what is true about your anxiety and what is false. So in packing, I will meet what is true about my anxieties about my shit not fitting in my suitcase. And we'll confront that and discover what actually needs to be done instead of lying awake thinking about it. There's only so much I can do to prepare, and there's so much I can buy. That's also what I have to keep reminding myself. I feel like I'm so far up my own spiral about all of this that I've like really lost track of like what's important or what's exciting about it all, and I really would like to exit that state and return to feeling hopeful, or not even hopeful, just like excited or like feeling like the bulk of my thoughts are occupied by things that actually matter rather than stupid crap. What a blessing to love the place that you live so much that you feel sad to leave, right? Isn't that the way we should look at it? I hope. I guess. Ciao. It is January 12th, which means it is precisely 3 days until I leave. I just dropped off a return at the post office, picked up a coat, well, you can't really see it, picked up a coat from the dry cleaners. Just now dropped off a pair of spare keys to my property manager, which is a long story. Anyway, and yesterday got a nice new haircut, so I'm feeling fresh. And now I'm gonna take the bus over to Target to make another return that I've been sitting on. This is really fun. This is like me revealing all the things I've procrastinated on for the last 6 months. It's awesome. But it's a beautiful, beautiful day, and it's been such beautiful weather over the last like 3 or 4 days, and it just feels insane that I'm about to be dark and cold because it feels like it's fall, spring, summer practically. Yeah. That stuff is not coming. That stuff is coming. And here's me trying on every piece of clothing with every possible combination just to make sure that I'm bringing stuff that will work together and eliminating the stuff that is in excess. What's happening here? I am waiting for the train to go to my meeting, last in-person meeting for work before I depart. Just dropped my sweater on the ground, but that. It is such an insanely beautiful day. I'm literally standing here in a t-shirt. And I just went to UPS and printed out all of the like PDF readings for school. And I have a textbook or like a book arriving today. Oh my god, the print is so small. Fuck. So that's thick. It's like 155 pages or so. Now the train is here. But yeah, T-minus 24 hours. It's after my meeting now. It's like 3:15. It kind of feels like nap time, but it's so gorgeous out that I don't want to waste any of this beautiful sun or warmth. So I'm going into the park to enjoy the sun and the warm while I still can. Because boy, howdy, are the hours like ticking down. I've been sitting here basking in the warmth for the last 25-30 minutes. This is where we say goodbye until I see you on the other side. I'm gonna go home, finish packing, and clean, and just kind of get ready to be gone. I think that I went through a lot of ups and downs, feeling kind of emo about leaving and also excited, and I think now I'm just kind of in a dissociated mode where I feel like I don't really clock what's happening, and honestly I think that's probably pretty good. Like, it's such a beautiful day. It's lovely that I'm getting to just kind of like sit here and enjoy with basically all of my like pressing tasks completed, so I don't need to be too stressed. And yeah, I think that
the travel and like the change in climate and setting and everything is like frankly too abrupt in some ways to like really be able to wrap my head around it. And so I'm just kind of letting myself not think about it and just enjoy where I am and be present. Yeah. Thank you for watching. If you made it to the end, because I think this is a long talk you video. Have a good day. Bye bye.